ATMB Youth Group. I hope you guys are doing well. It seems like things are starting to open back up here in Texas, so we actually may be getting to meet together sometime soon. So be looking for information coming out about when we may be able to get to meet again as a church family and get to meet again as a youth group. Well, as a reminder, I know I say this every time, but I want to encourage you to join our youth group Zoom hangout that happens every Sunday night at 7:30. So we're going to be meeting this Sunday night at 7:30 on Zoom. I will send the link out via Remind and GroupMe, and I'll also send it through email to your parents as well. But please be a part of that if you haven't already. It can be a lot of fun just to spend some time together. We play games and we talk, and then we spend some time praying as well. But I encourage you to join us for the Zoom meeting this Sunday night at 7. Well, on our last Zoom call, I shared an important announcement about our summer camps with the group. And if you haven't heard that already, I'll share with you that both Zenith and Cornerstone that we participate in, they are canceled for this year. So we're not going to have Zenith or Cornerstone this summer. And I know this is sad news for many of you because I know that camp is very special to you and is a very significant time. This is sad news for me. It's something that I look forward to every year. And so it's okay to be upset. And it's okay to mourn the loss of camp and not getting to get to go to that this year. On a positive note, we do plan on having camp in 2021, so be planning on going to Zenith and Cornerstone next summer. And also, it is the plan now that the graduating seniors from this year that are missing out on their last time to go to Zenith, that they will be invited back as campers next year at Zenith. So you still have an opportunity to go one more time next summer. Well, I hate having to deliver news like that to you guys, that camp is canceled, because I know it is so important to so many of you, and that's something you look forward to. And also, I know losing camp is just one more loss that you guys are experiencing. That during this pandemic, there's been several things that you've lost or missed out on. For you seniors, this is probably not the way that you planned for your senior year to end. There's probably a lot of these last traditions that you're not getting to experience. Several of you are missing out on spring sports or different spring academic or band competitions. Some of you had to celebrate birthdays at home without your friends. So you miss being with your friends. You miss the freedom of being able to go do what you want, to go see a movie or to go out to eat with people. And ultimately, we've lost getting to be together as a youth group. We've lost the time that we get to spend in person with our church family. And so there's a lot that you have lost during this time. So how do we respond to loss as Christians, as followers of Jesus? I think one reminder is that it's good to keep things in perspective. There are many in the world right now who are suffering in more significant ways than you or I. If you and your family have been healthy during this time, that is a blessing to be thankful for. If your parents are still able to work and still have a paycheck, that's something to be thankful for. If your physical and basic needs are still being taken care of, that is a blessing. So even though some may be suffering more than you, that does not mean that your loss doesn't matter, that God still cares about your hurting and the things that you have lost. So it's okay to still mourn or grieve those things that you've missed out on or that you've lost. So we want to keep things in perspective, but at the same time, your loss still matters. Well, I love the book of Psalms. Psalms was the songbook for God's people, for the people of Israel. And they were hymns or songs that they sang to God, but they're also prayers where they're expressing or themselves are talking to God. And the church still uses the Psalms today. We sing many of them in our worship songs. We love to read the Psalms because many of them can be very comforting, especially during difficult times. But the Psalms, they capture kind of the full spectrum of human emotion. You have happy Thanksgiving Psalms that rejoice in what God has done for us, but there's also sad and sorrowful Psalms that question, where are you, God, during times of suffering? In fact, 1/3 of all the Psalms in the book of Psalms are what's called lament Psalms. They express some of these negative emotions to God, emotions like fear or guilt or sorrow or anger. I think these Psalms can be helpful to turn to because they help give us words in times when we are experiencing those emotions. Well, Psalm 13 is a classic lament psalm. And the psalmist who writes this, it may have been David. He starts out in verse 1. He writes this: How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and every day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Look on me and answer, O Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. My enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. So the writer is obviously going through a tough time. If it is David that writes it, maybe it's when he's fleeing for his life from Saul, or maybe it's even when his own son Absalom is plotting against him and trying to take his throne. Whatever the circumstance, the writer is obviously going through some distress. He asks, how long will God forget him forever? Or how long, God, will you hide your face from me? And he repeats these questions, starting with how long, 4 different times. Maybe that's a prayer that you can identify with right now. Maybe you have some how long questions that you want to ask God, of how long is this pandemic going to last? How long am I going to be stuck at home? How long until I can get to see my friends again? How many losses are going to be piled up on top of me before this thing ends? If you think about it, these questions that the psalmist writes to God, these are some serious accusations brought on God. The writer accuses God of forgetting him, of not caring about his hurting, of abandoning or hiding his face from him. Those are big accusations to place on God. Is that okay to pray things like that? It doesn't seem like a very nice thing to say to God. So is that okay for us to express those kinds of emotions to God? Well, the truth is, in life, we are going to go through times where we are experiencing hurting. And there's times that we're going to experience some negative emotions, that we are going to have some ugly thoughts or feelings inside of us. And God actually wants us to come to him with our ugly emotions. He would rather us come to him and share those feelings with him rather than to just turn away from him, or to try to put on some sort of fake face and pretend like everything's okay. God would rather us be honest with him. And in some ways, bringing those ugly emotions to God are actually a way of expressing our trust in him. It's saying, God, I trust that I can express some of these things to you that may not be the nicest things to come out of my mouth, but you are still going to love me anyways. Think of God as a parent. When you think about your parents, don't they want you to share with them when you are going through times where you're hurting? Even if the things that you're going to share with them may hurt them or sadden them, I think they would much rather you come and share those things with them than you to try to hide those from them or for you to just shut them out. And I think it's the same thing with God, that when we're experiencing kind of hard feelings or ugly emotions, that he would rather us come and share those and trust him with those rather than to turn away from him. So if you're hurting right now, if you're feeling some of those negative emotions, I encourage you to share them with God, to talk to God about how you are feeling and to trust he is big enough to handle them. But I love where Psalm 13 ends. So he expresses these questions and accusations to God, But then at the end, this is what he says in verse 5 and 6. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for he has been good to me. So he says to God, how long will you forget me? How long will you hide your face from me? But he gets to the end and he says, but I will trust in your unfailing love. I think that's what faith looks like. That sometimes we come to God and we come to God when we're hurting or we don't understand what's going on around us, and we come and we say, God, where are you? Why are you letting this happen? Don't you care about me? But ultimately, faith is saying that, God, even though I can't see you in this moment, even though I don't understand what you are doing, I still trust in you. I still place my faith in you. That I know that your unfailing love is not going to fail, that you are going to love me no matter what. And that's what we see here from the writer of the Psalms. That even though he's struggling to see God right now, he trusts in his unfailing love. So I encourage you to spend some time with Psalm 13 if you are hurting right now, or if you are experiencing loss. I encourage you to pray these words to God, to express to him your hurt and your pain and your questions, but ultimately rest in the trust in his unfailing love. Well, you guys have a great week. There's not going to be a youth message from me this Sunday. I'm going to be preaching the sermon, and so I'm not going to make you listen to me twice. So just enjoy watching worship with your family. But I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Y'all have a great week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.